Howdy ho! Come on in, sit down. We're here for our weekly manifestation oracle message. We're just going to take a look at the week ahead to see how we need to apply our intention and focus and energy where our goals are concerned. And oh my goodness, Ringmaster of Scrutiny is back this week. This was our final card from last week's pull, if I am remembering correctly. And this is all about discernment, clear vision, and details. And that really rings true with the message from yesterday, from Monday, because if you haven't seen that video, it had a lot to do with gaining clarity. And basically that clarity was coming on the other side of us finding solace and inner peace, knowing that like the only true sustainer, the only true provider, protector is the creator, right? We do our best. You know, we're expected to do our half, but otherwise like God's got to have our back and take care of us. And we have to trust that at some point the net is going to catch us in life, and we just do the best we can. And so having all of that anxiety and strain off of our plate gives us so much more bandwidth and clarity. And so the clarity right now also is coming into like how our plans are refining themselves and taking shape into further detail, right? Like for instance, for example, we've had the message coming in for a while now as well that we needed more information or to consult an expert. And so more information is needed. And so in a way, this played out perfectly for me today for me to tell you guys. So for a long time, I have, been making content for like many years now. And I've done pretty much everything that marketing experts have ever said you should do, SEO, all that stuff. I've followed all the advice. I've turned on all the buttons, turned off all the buttons, whatever. And, it is what it is. My channel has plateaued. And I think that is because I have stumbled into like the kind of viewers that don't necessarily come for the content that I make. They just ran into me by chance and then enjoyed like my personality, and they kind of come in and out, and they don't necessarily watch through the video. And I think that that's put me lower in the algorithm. Like for instance, sometimes when I premiere a video, like I can see if people are watching, and like I'll have like a number of a viewer come on, and they'll like the video, but they immediately leave. So then I don't have duration, and so the algorithm does not understand what that means. And so it happens a lot. And I think maybe people that are friends with me or whatever, like if they see a video, like they might like thumb it, but they might not watch it. And so long story short, there's just a lot of details that kept adding on to the fact that like my channel wasn't growing. And so I have started a fresh platform on Substack and Patreon that I'm still kind of figuring it out. So I've been learning about whatever I can, and the ultimate goal for building an audience, I've learned recently that like unless you get millions of views, you're not going to get a lot of ad money from YouTube. Not anything that's going to be able to like sustain you. So you have to monetize in a way from like your own making. And I have always wanted to make like workshops and courses and go deeper into nuanced information and wisdom that maybe the casual viewer isn't as interested in. So it takes time to make this content though. So the point of monetizing it is to take me out of the restaurant so that I can do this full time and be creating. However, the days of like as I was growing up as an adult, I saw like coaches marketing like these bigger courses like once a year or whatever, and they made it was like there was this wild west of a time where you could really grow a big business and a big brand doing that. But I think now the market is just so saturated that things have changed drastically. But like none of those marketing gurus have come out and said that that's the case. And so recently, or actually this morning, I think it was this content creator just popped up into my feed, and I didn't have any reason to watch that video. I wasn't looking for that information. It was talking about like what the marketing people aren't telling you or whatever, and it just sounded spammy. I wasn't really that interested, but something kept telling me like what I needed to watch that video. So I watched the video, and this girl is basically calling out 3 of the major coaches, and one of them was one of my favorites that I followed for a long time. And their specialty was how to be a course creator and a marketer, you know, and it was more of like a business to business kind of course kind of thing. So that model of what I had always wanted to grow this channel, you know, the goal was like pretty much, I don't know, it was like sort of like ruined for me today, because I realized she was saying like, I used to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of these courses, and they weren't even high priced, but like that was like how, you know, easy it was to get sales back then. She's like, it doesn't work anymore. Not even the funnels, the webinars, all of that. Like, you're not really selling courses anymore. She's like, if you have information that you sell directly to a viewer, like an individual about a specific interest, then those are still doing okay. But the days of the, you know, and so the details that I needed were there for me in that video, because I was like, oh, okay. She was like, you can still figure out how to monetize if your brand, the thing that you do is content creation, which that's what we're doing. We're here every day spending time together, you know, I mean, because this is enjoyable and it's comforting, but also we're sharing deep wisdom, and we're growing spiritually. So it's the kind of thing where we want to be here every day hanging out. But it made me think about the details and the bigger picture and the bigger vision of how to approach, now that I'm starting this new brand, I don't want to go building in the wrong direction, right? And so it was good for me to get those details so I could get clarity and be honest about what is going to be sustainable and what is going to be something I can grow in the long run. And so it wasn't easy to hear, but it was clarity that I needed so that I wasn't just pushing a rock up a hill that would never go, right? So discernment, clear vision, and details. There might be something for you that comes up that you find out this week that helps you make better decisions about the direction that you're taking your goals in. That's why I like to be upfront with you guys about, I never pretend that I am a big success if I'm not. I spent 3 months on the 2026 prediction series, making it, producing it, filming it, editing it, you know, making the journal questions and all of that work. And I have sold 4 and they are $12. So, you know, it's good to get that kind of clarity so you can make informed choices. And so, but then also you have to listen beneath your emotions and your own personal agenda to hear the truth sometimes. And it's not just about selling the workshop. Like I genuinely feel like this is going to be a great tool for people to have through the year. It's kind of prophetic too, because I growing up, I had this like reoccurring dream that would happen, that it was like this kind of a dystopian future. And I didn't know, the city was familiar, but it was different. It wasn't the Nashville that I live in. And it was like in the dream, I was always like kind of on my own, and I was always in the car driving at night, and there were it was like weird, like, you know, when the clouds are like brown and like the sky is really ominous and weird at night, and there was like there were threats, right? And we were under like a attack in many of the dreams, where like we were under like the attack from like jets. And again, I keep saying this is a dream, this is a dream, this is a dream. And I was always in the dream. I was trying to drive across town to grab my boyfriend and grab my family and grab my, you know, whoever I loved. I was trying to go and tell them what was happening and that I had a place to take them to safety. And it was like in the dream, no one would ever listen. And they were always like kind of ignoring me, or they wouldn't take me seriously or whatever. And that is how I have felt in my life through, like, metaphorically speaking, through having like this intuition and this sense of prophecy, or, you know, kind of like psychic tendencies, where sometimes I can see things and I can, you know, like troubleshoot in advance, and people don't listen. And then I have to sit there and watch chaos unfold, or people regret things that they, you know, would have done different. And I'm like, oh, I wish they would have listened. I wish they would have listened. And there's a Greek character in the Greek melodramas named Cassandra. And she was a prophetess, and same for her. She would see these things, and she would try to tell people and warn them in advance so they could avoid the chaos and the destruction and whatever was coming, and no one would ever listen to her. And so that was like her curse. So this dream metaphorically plays out this way, and I'm always like, gosh, I want to give people the tools. I want to help. You know, I don't want people to have to suffer or go through chaos, or like, you know, be completely unaware that their experiences or patterns are presenting lessons to them that are meant to like evolve their soul, and that they're not going to get out of it until they at least understand that there's a lesson connected to the situation. So that's why I do this. That's why I make this content. That's why I write the articles and the blogs that I do. That's why I want to make courses. That's why I sit with people who I love, who are my friends, who are my family, and I give them my insight when they ask for it, but they don't usually take it. And the people that do take it, though, are the people that pay to come for a reading. Because that's why it's valuable for them to pay for the reading, because they actually value the information and then they take it more seriously. But so that always tortures me. So the 2026 prediction series, it's like, I want people to have this as a tool, because it's not just a forecast. It's also a workshop in the description box with journal stuff to help you do the inner work that's tied into the issues that are coming up through the year. But yes, so Ringmaster of Scrutiny. So it's time to use discernment, really get clear about our vision, and then start taking care of the details. And let's not forget that coming up in February, we have Neptune moving into Aries and conjuncting with Saturn at 0 degrees of Aries. So there's a lot of our new moon in Capricorn is Sunday, and then we just had our full moon in Cancer. So there's so much cardinal energy right now to start things and to get things off the ground. But right now, the last, next couple of weeks is like the last of the kind of quiet time that we have to get our details in order before we need to strike while that iron's hot and take off running, right? A couple of more weeks of January and Pisces, and then we're right there. It's right around the corner. So getting our ducks in a row, getting the details in order. All right. Ooh, the Eagle King, the big picture, and angelic help. So again, piggybacking off of all the things that we were just talking about angelic help, about heaven sending you messengers before you kind of take things off in the wrong direction and waste your time or make a costly mistake. There was things that have happened over the last couple of days where I've just had like a little feeling to go check on this or look into that. And then it was like, oh, okay. So I'm so glad that an angel tapped me on the shoulder and got my attention. But so many times our angelic helpers and our spirit guides are trying to get our attention. They're tapping our shoulder, but we're just so preoccupied with everything, and we're all caught up in the energy and the stimulation that we aren't getting the message, that we aren't seeing the details, the little details that are trying to send us a message about something. And it's sometimes, to notice a sign, you have to be aware of the surroundings to begin with, or you won't notice that nothing will jump out at you as out of place or unusual, right? So be at peace and be of good heart that angel help is coming and messengers are trying to communicate with you and give you guidance, but you really have to invite that in because there's no coercion in spirituality. Heaven will not force you into a path or into a direction or even force help on you that you don't ask for. They don't want to intervene in your process or interrupt it unless you ask for help, and that's part of your process. But they're not going to just step in and do it for you, right? It's like when, if you've ever been standing with a child and they are trying to do a project with you and you're trying to teach them about something like how to put something together or how to make something work. And it's like having the patience that our angelic help is like us when we're watching a child, kind of like fumble through something. And we're standing there. If you look at an impatient adult, they're like, here, let me do it. And then they move the child out of the way and then they take over because they don't have confidence in the child or they don't have patience in the child or they don't have the understanding that it's okay for the child to sit there and fail a few times, but this is vital for the child to figure out critical thinking skills. So the angels are like sitting there going like, I don't want to intervene because I want you to figure this out so that you will have self-esteem and self-confidence and the skill and the understanding and the critical thinking. It'll grow your soul. But if part of the growth of your soul is realizing, I can ask for my angels to help me, that's part of our awakening, then we invite them in and they give us help. But they don't want to just take over. They want us to grow into the awareness to involve them in the first place if we need to. So big picture, angelic help. Again, going back to my example of my own self, looking at the big picture, I want to make content to give people wisdom, to help people to transform, to help them heal and transform and deepen their connection with God, right? And with Jesus, and have a deeper understanding about Jesus and Jesus's message and the Torah and the Old Testament and even the Gnostic Gospels, right? But it's not just about whether or not I'm going to turn a profit in courses. The more important part, the big picture, is that I'm a vessel and a messenger for the Creator. And so ultimately, I'm doing this for the Creator and for the purpose of sharing, with people. And so it's more important that the light is shared and that the people have a transformation. And that's more important than getting hung up on whether or not like workshops are the way to go. It's not about having like a certain career path. It's about being on the path of purpose for me, right? So look at the big picture, and don't get caught up in don't let something get so close to your face that you can't see it for what it is. You can't see the bigger picture. What's really important, right? Is it about the bottom line or is it about the mission and the why, Okay. Cosmos, creativity, and vastness. So I love this. I love it. It's like the universe is like, we have your back. We're sending you details. We're trying to help you get clarity on the big picture. We need you to be like, a bit discerning and be able to discern the messages, be able to discern also from when the opponent is trying to throw you off your game, right? Because I had to sit there and consider when I saw that video, I was like, is this the opponent making me, trying to make me discouraged so that I'll give up? And I was like, it could be. But you know what? What I'm taking away from this information is that in a way it's liberating, because you're like, okay, I thought that I was doing this. I thought it was something I was doing. I thought I was just like this failure and honestly a loser. I was starting to feel like that because I'm like, I've tried so many things and it's like, and I feel like I'm making genuinely high quality content, and even on Substack, I'm brand new, but my feed is just full of garbage of people just being like, I finally started to write this year. anybody out there wanting to connect with other ladies, like, it's just like the most generic, like, nothing, waste of space, honestly. And I'm like, okay, but I've got this article of depth or a video that, it could be, not to toot my own horn, but it could change your life. I've had people send me messages many times, that suggested that I had said something or shared something that was life-changing for them. And so frustrating. So it's like, the universe has got my back. I am here to spread light for the Creator. That's the main thing. And so I can't get discouraged. I have to just keep on doing what I can. See a big picture, maybe like manage my expectations and shift my perspective. But also knowing that I can shift and tweak my strategy around a little bit. But I think that our spirit guides are trying to help us. They're trying to lead us and guide us. And the cosmos are literally like underscoring that again and again. It's creativity, vastness, like the possibilities are endless, but it's like, how far will our belief take us, right? Do we have limiting beliefs or do we have expanding beliefs? Right? Do we have the kind of faith and certainty in the Creator that we know that if we keep our heart and our mind and our willpower and our acts aligned and set on the right trajectory, the Creator will meet us halfway. And the universe wants us to create. The universe wants us to be vessels for the light. We have an important job to do. So the universe is sending ways to support us and help us and guide us. But it's up to us to like hone in our focus and use our discernment to understand, okay, is this path, am I being called this way by the universe, the Creator, or is the opponent trying to lure me off path by like dangling this carrot, and I'm getting, distracted, right? So making that discernment. It was good to hear the information from the person who exposed these marketers because they are not making the same money anymore that they used to, or their strategies don't work anymore like they used to. Like, there were so many things that she was talking about because she was in this community with them, and she knows the truth behind the scenes, and they're all like talking about how they're closing their businesses and they're closing their courses because they want to work with like one-on-one clients and all this stuff. And it's like, she's like, this is what's really going on, and they're still selling you these courses, promising you the same results that they got a way long time ago, and the market has been flooded and saturated and everything's changed now, and so it's just not it's gone obsolete, right? So it doesn't make me think, oh, I'll never make it, I'll never be a success. It just makes me think, okay, I'm going to keep doing this regardless of the results. Because if the Creator wants one person in the world to see like one video that I did one time, and that's for them and that helps them, then that did its job. And if this video reaches the one person it's supposed to reach, then it did its job, right? I'm just here to do the job that the universe wants me to do. I'm here to be in alignment with my purpose. And I need to be less focused on whether or not the success is happening for my benefit, but whether or not the success is happening for the Creator's benefit, whether the job is getting done and out into the world, and whether I'm being effective, right? So the cosmos are rooting for us, though. They've got our back. And I hope that this episode doesn't feel like totally about me. It's just that I use myself as an example, to flesh out these concepts into kind of like mundane life where you can plug yourself into it and find your own example. Is something like this happening for you right now? Are you finding out more about this thing that you're working on that kind of gives you more clarity? And is it something that's causing you to have to use discernment about it because you have like your own judgment is mixed in, and then you have like your own emotional attachments with it, and so it's hard. It's easy to say be discerning, but it's harder to do it when you have skin in the game. And my favorite card from this deck, Diamond Dreamer. I love this. This is very promising, guys. This is not the clarity and the discernment might be uncomfortable and initially to face, but I think that it's going to open up a lot. I think a lot's coming through from here. I think we have a lot of universal support, a lot of spiritual guidance, and I think we're really close. I think we're on the right track. I just think there's a couple of details that we might have skewed or not have quite correctly yet. But I think we have a few weeks to get it all ironed out. So the Diamond Dreamer is material wealth and true prosperity. I love it. And you know what? I will report this as just to declare my gratitude for God's blessings. This week, like this whole month of January, usually at our restaurant is fairly dead. It's like, don't like feel comfortable in your finances. Don't take anything for granted kind of thing. Like eat what's in the freezer, spend as little as possible. And last week was pretty grim, I will say, but this week I felt like there was something that happened. I had a breakthrough, or just like an energetic turning point. And then this week I felt like everything has fallen into place for me in very merciful ways this week. This week has been, I'm not rolling in dough by any means, but it's definitely hasn't been as bad as last week. And that has been a relief. And so I feel like that is such a blessing. And it's just proof that like when you can align vibrationally and emotionally and in your faith and take action and do your best and try your best to have these shifts in perspective and healing, and when you're really bringing all your effort with earnestness, then the net will catch you. I wasn't able to tithe last week because money was just so tight. And it wasn't like, and I where I give my tithes are to people in like immediate distress. And sometimes I give to the same people, regularly, so it actually makes an impact. And I'm talking about like people in war zones and disaster areas and things like that. And so at a point in my life where I was less awakened and less conscious, I might not think about it as much. It might not weigh on me as much. My selfish nature even might think, oh, well, I don't have enough to tithe this week, so I guess I just won't, and if it was just going to like charity water or something, it might not have weighed on me so bad. It might have bothered me a little bit, but this time around it's different. Like I was upset that I wasn't making a lot of money last week, not only just because I was worried about myself, because I knew I would survive. But I was really, for the first time, more upset that I didn't make enough money last week to like give the money that I usually give to the people that need it. And I felt like that change in me was apparent, that I noticed that, and it became clear to me. And it became clear to me how being the greatest vessel that I can be and being successful is not just about what I can build for myself or even my family or my friends or my immediate people that would maybe benefit from me doing well, but more so for the legacy that I can pay forward and what I can share with the world that needs it desperately. Like so many things in the world need love and repairing and assistance right now. And if I do well, then I have more to share. And as I expand my vessel, then I can be a greater impact in a positive way. right? So it's not a bad thing to have ambition and drive and desire to want to create, because we had this was part of the Secret Teachings of Jesus video on Saturday, the Gospel of Mary, talking about describing the soul's ascent. We were in the first portion of that. Talks about desire. And desire that's not like an awakened desire, not an elevated desire, but a carnal desire can chain the body to the material world. But it's not that desire in itself is bad, because we need desire, because desire helps us elevate and do anything that we do in life. But it makes us long to be like the Creator, so we can draw close to the Creator. But like when we desire to receive for the self alone or for instant gratification, that's our evil inclination. That's our selfish nature. But the perfected vessel desires to receive for the sake of sharing. And so I felt that for the first time, not just intellectually, but like emotionally. Like I was like, oh shoot, like this isn't just about being stressed about money this week. Like I didn't expand myself as a vessel enough to share with those who need it. So it gave me a different perspective of drive and ambition. And to a certain extent, when it's coming from a selfish place, it's destructive. But when it's coming from a place of responsibility to your community and to the world and to the Creator, then it's actually a really positive thing. So it's like nothing on its own, no virtue on its own. Like a virtue can be a vice, right? If it's not in balance, right? Or if it's not directed the right way. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. That's like a different way to see, because I had never thought ambition was necessarily, like I don't have an automatic like negative attitude towards ambitious people, but I do see when ambition is taken with like this insatiable thirst, it gets out of hand and it's like a bloodlust and that can't be satiated. And that's what we see in the world right now with people who don't ever feel like they have enough and they just want to take and take and take and take and take. So I think that we have, I don't know, the universe feels like we are, it's safe to bless us, give us abundance. It's sending us help and guidance, but we do need to practice a bit of discernment and just make the effort. But ultimately, we are all being kind of tested and challenged this week. That was the nature of the week to begin with. But the test and the challenge are here to awaken our trust and stretch that trust and grow that trust and grow our ability to let go and surrender and give that trust over to the Creator, while still knowing that surrender is not the same as giving up, and it's not the same as being lazy either. But it is sometimes mentally and emotionally and energetically hard to like let go and trust. So that's a big jump, big leap, big step. But I love the imagery on these cards. Such beautiful artwork. All right, that is all for tonight, you guys. I hope that everyone has a good week, that we navigate our scaries and our challenges with trust. And we are going to get to the other side of it. And in the meantime, we can declare God's goodness out loud. That is very protective, and it draws in blessings. And we can pray out loud and have a regular prayer practice. My Kabbalah teacher, David, always says, like, when he's like talks about like getting into like deep prayer, he's like, go out and pray somewhere for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go on a walk. Like if you spend that whole time praying, you will experience miracles within the hour. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably pretty true. Because every time that I have done that, it does at least shift your energy and your mindset greatly. So we all need that right now, don't we? All right, you guys. Well, tomorrow we will be back together for our weekly alchemy message, where we go into the spiritual lessons of the week and we unpack the work and like how we're approaching them. Until then, may peace be with you. Ciao.